Oh, right. Hi, hello. Yes, I am here. I am still alive. Sorry for the slightly later start today. It's been one of those days. Oh, look, I'm not even in the camera shot. Hang on. What is going on? There we go. Much better. Yeah, it's just been one of those days where it's just go, 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 go. One thing after the next, and it's... But I'm here now. Oh, my goodness. Hopefully everyone is doing well. Hey, Raquel. Sandrino. Basil. Ellie Sue. Hopefully I've pronounced that correctly. Elaine. Hey, good to see you. Shyam. Benjamin Bloom. Love that name. Tarakul. Skadoosh. Damad. Ewa. Moosh. Hey, Lena J. How you doing? I've not seen you for a long time. Paulina. Right. I don't actually have a plan today, which is pretty much like most days. Oh, you letting the cats out? Oh,
Hi.
no. I don't know where the camera is. Oh, I want the cat to come back. Oh. Yeah, we've done a lot of Illustrator recently, and I'm kind of wondering about doing some Photoshop. Some Photoshop would be quite fun. Raquel says hi.
Hi. Getting ready for work.
Oh yeah, she's off out in a minute. Just me, you, and the kids. Benjamin, yes, Photoshop, please. It's been a while, hasn't it? I can't tell if the camera's going out of focus or if it's my glasses. Yeah, I was doing some Photoshop recently, and it's just my favourite thing. Goodbye, lady in the background. Have fun.
Thanks.
That's so funny. This is Poppy Minx, my better half. Lady in the background. Please, can you change your thing on Discord? Lady in the background.
I'll do that before I go.
Quiet, woman. You do not get to speak. From this day forth, you will be known as Lady in the background.
I mean, technically, we are Lord and Lady.
We are.
Unofficially. But I don't know.
Moose says, have a good day at work, Poppy.
Thank you.
I was just watching your Photoshop guide on Envato. Ooh, which one? Skadoosh. I love that name. Hey, Daniela. Sorry, that's tickled me. It's my first time watching you live. What do you do? Oh my goodness, the pressure.
Ooh.
The pressure. We design stuff, we have a laugh. Well, when I say we have a laugh, people usually end up laughing at me, which is fine. I can't tell if my camera's in focus or not, or if my eyesight is just progressively getting worse. Oh, your first time as well. Hey. Well, hello to the first timers. We should probably do something then, shouldn't we? Okay, right. If we're going to do photo manipulation, one thing that I love to do, I did this the other day, and I've got to show you this because I'm very proud of it, but it's a good exercise in Photoshop, and that is to combine two images. So a lot of times when we do photo manipulation or some sort of crazy complicated piece, one thing that I see a mistake I see a lot of people make, and I've seen this mistake quite a lot in design review as well, is their idea and their creativity is amazing, but it's like the technical execution that kind of lets it down. This is something that I do address in my Photoshop First Class course, and ding ding, yeah, promo segment, blah blah. No, oh, you're not here. That's all right. I'll put a link somewhere. And then in the masterclass that's coming out on the 15th of March, we're going to dive like much deeper into that, and I'm going to show you all the tricks I use to create things like this. So this is kind of the original, and I love doing this. I think, and I see a lot of other creators doing this as well. They'll have like 2 or 3 images, and the technical execution is just so good that it just looks amazing. Whereas if you have like 6, 7, 8 images and you've created this amazing scene, but you don't have the technical knowledge, or you're not using the right tools to composite the images together professionally or in a way that's like believable, then it's not going to look as good as it could. And that's why I think it's a good exercise to have a background and an image, in this case a hillside and a door, and just practice on the fundamentals. And once you kind of master the fundamentals of blending these two images together, for example, you can then do it with multiple images. It's just the same thing but repeated. So did you just bump my chair then?
I didn't mean to. I'll see you later.
Disrespect! Begone, lady in the background.
I've got it on there. It's on Discord.
You are actually in the background. Have you actually?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. You have to stay right there now. You
No, I
are
need to go.
lady. No, you are lady in the background, and you will stay in the background. You cannot go into the foreground. The foreground is not for you. The likes of you belong over there. Hello, cat. Anyway, I'm sorry. What was I saying? Sorry. I got distracted with my own self-righteousness. Yeah, so this is the before and this is the after. It was actually my son that gave me this idea. He's 9 and he had a sketch of a door in the middle of nowhere with like a monster's hand creeping around it. I am out of focus. Oh, it's not just me, Raquel. I'm not going completely bonkers. Hang on. Let me try and fix that, because that is... Okay, there we go. I'll figure camera stuff out later. Okay. That poor woman. I see a monkey. Oh, yeah. I thought you meant me then. I was like, what? How dare you? Yeah, this is Caesar. I think my mum got me this. Birthday or Christmas.
Caesar is strong.
Right. No audio. Have we got audio now? We should have audio. Audio is back. Oh yeah, when I switch to that other camera and I move stuff around, the audio cuts out because reasons. Yeah, so this was just combining these two images together. This was a really, really good exercise in compositing them together, but also lighting and shadows. And it was pretty tough, but I think it's fair to say that the result is pretty satisfactory. Like, I was pretty happy with that. So we're going to do something similar today. So first of all, I need two images. I need a scene and a thing that I can put in the scene. Oh, I don't like this camera. It's like the low down, up the nose angle, kind of like looking, like I'm looking down at you, down my nose. I don't like it. Okay, we'll try that. Make my head less big. Looks Matrix-ish. Oh, thank you, Elaine. Yeah, so there's a platform that I've been using that I personally love this. I find it very useful. I know AI is very controversial right now in the creative space. I don't like a lot of the AI that does the creativity for you. So the AI art generators, like, sometimes they might be useful for a mood board or something, but I wouldn't use the AI art in my finished work. I've got no like emotional attachment to it, or I don't feel anything toward it. Do you know what I mean? However, this platform is really cool. It's called Visual Electric, and it basically lets you generate your own stock images. So you can type in a prompt and it will generate that image. And I always like to try and include, if it's an object, like on plain background, and so then you can generate the stock images exactly as you need them, but you still have to do all the work, all the compositing, and it just saves me having to spend flipping ages going through all sorts of stock images to ultimately find something that isn't exactly what I want. So I do quite like it. A snake that goodness, I can't speak today. That elevates from underground, making a huge crater in the asphalt. That is very specific. Do we have any other ideas for a scene or a thing or an object? We'll type in giant snake and we'll get giant snake looming and looking down at some mere mortal human. So I can go I want photography, so I want it photorealistic. We'll go portrait. You can generate in all these different styles, and obviously this isn't sponsored or anything, but this is a platform that I can't even remember where I heard about it, but I signed up for it pretty quickly. In fact, I know where I was when I signed up for it. We were at Harry Potter World, and I signed up for it in the car. And I burned through the trial in like 5 seconds, and I was like, oh, well, that was disappointingly quick. But then I signed up. I was like, I'm going to give this a go for a month and see what it's about. One thing I like about this, actually there's quite a few things, apart from the fact it's very well done. One thing I love is that I can actually generate game characters, and I like video games, and I like creating very epic fantasy video game inspired stuff in Photoshop. And so if I need a character from a game, so if I typed in, I don't know, Leon from Resident Evil or Regina from Dino Crisis or something like that, or a Bloodborne character, it will generate me a character. So it's pretty useful in that regard. It's quite intelligent in that it understands what you're trying to create. Falling down a rabbit hole. Oh, I like the rabbit hole idea. Eating ice cream. A snake eating ice cream. What, the snake falling down the rabbit hole? What games do you play? Oh, goodness. I mean, a lot. Big fan of From Software, Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Dark Souls, all of them. Sekiro. So obviously, like a lot of platforms, this is using some sort of credits, although I've never hit my maximum. Looking down, I'm going to try symmetrical giant snake facing the camera, looming and looking down. So I've got an image of what I want in my head, roughly. Now there is a feature to remove the background as well, although I've had, let's just say, limited success with that. Yeah, see, these are quite cool. Anyone got any other ideas? By all means, shout them out. Bro, I love those games. I just know I'm never beating them, but they're so cool. Right, we're going to generate some more. Actually, no. Low angle. So I want this kind of low angle looking up. Let's see if we can get something decent. I think a big part of getting photo manipulation looking good is choosing the right images. So if you are using, I did used to use Adobe stock like years ago, and then they started kind of adding loads of AI stuff, and it got a bit difficult to like filter out what was AI and what wasn't. And then you have to spend time looking for your images. If you use Unsplash, it's good as well, but it's free, so the quality is just nothing compared to like a proper stock site. And to be honest, I've just gravitated towards this because now I can generate my own stock assets pretty much. But I still have to do the work. You know, it's not doing the creativity for me. I'm just coming up with the idea and generating what I need. This one's pretty close. Do we have any other ideas for things? I need like objects and places. Yeah, and similar to a lot of AI stuff, Elaine, you could probably use this for mood boards as well. You know, it's like if you've got a mood board for a drinks brand and you want images of like strawberries and bottles, mock-ups and all that kind of stuff, you can just, you know what you want, you type it in, boom, you get what you want, hopefully. I'm just trying to think how one of these images would relate to, I love this one here. How do I zoom in? Oh yeah, there we go. Oh, where's my sidebar gone? Come back. That's a really good one. I'm just trying to think how I could use that in a photo manipulation. Like, would I have like a mountain maybe and have him peering over the mountain? Just anything makes, like, the theme doesn't need to be, the theme can be totally random. Like in the example I showed, oh, it's gone now. It was a door in the middle of a field. I think before we've done a basketball underneath an aqueduct with a train going along the aqueduct. So just think of random objects. A treasure chest, I like it. Let's generate a few more of those and then we'll stick a treasure chest. Underwater, that would be an underwater's interesting. Inside a bottle. A snake wrapped around an apple. Oh, very biblical. I like it. Oh, I mean, look at this one. Look at that one. It's some sort of weird double-ended impossible snake, but he's got a space there for an apple. That was really weird. Oh my goodness, double-ended snake. That is weird. That's almost too perfect to not do it. The one next to it is a bit, that's like, I don't know what that is. That's like some sort of wedding cake, but the snake version with different tiers. Snake wrapped around some headphones with neon lights. Oh, I do love me some neon. Medusa with snakes. Ah. I think I'm going to try this one with the apple because it's a good 2-image example and I think I could probably get it looking good in the stream. We'll ignore the fact it's a... Look, this is like an... this is like an alternative version of Adam and Eve, the snake and the apple. So this is a double-ended snake. So I'm going to go with that one for now. And generating an apple should be quite easy. We could even try and add some poison to the bottom of the apple because it is a snake after all. But we'll see how we go. So what I'm going to do is upscale this. Creativity, leave that there. 4. Click that little thing. And it's going to upscale it to a super amazing high-res version. I'm the snake. What's that from, Moosh? As soon as I saw you write that, my first thought was badger, 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 mushroom, mushroom, snake, here is a snake. Does anyone remember that? Or if you don't know what that is, you probably think I've lost the plot, which I probably have by now. Snake. Snake rigging 3D models in Blender. That is very specific. Yeah, honestly, Moose, that's like from when I was like 15, 16. You remember that? Okay, right, good. I don't come across as totally mental then. Just partially. Badger, 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 mushroom, mushroom. Oh, it's my childhood. Right, I need some music. I need to get that song out of my head. Okay. Right, while that generates, I'm going to generate a nice, delicious red apple. Oh, I'm looking forward to this. This is my favourite thing in the world to do. go. Snaky boy. Download. We've got to match the angle now as well. Very important. So I probably should write low angle shot of... You see a lot of these, they're kind of higher up. So I need the camera to be looking up at the apple. So I should be able to see the underside of the apple. If I can see the underside of the snake. A poison apple, yeah, we'll see. It's a bit Snow White, but we'll see where we end up. Badger. Okay. Yeah, it's not quite giving me the right angle yet. I need it slightly so I could just see a bit at the bottom. It's all about getting the right prompt, I think. It's my first day of Illustrator. Well, congratulations. That sounded really sarcastic. It wasn't meant to be, sorry. Hey, there we go. We're getting somewhere. Probably a bit too much. I think if you're gonna, I think if you're just getting started, you know, it's good to imitate other people. I think if you are actually going to run a business, you probably want to use inspiration from the YouTube video, but maybe not. You don't want to copy it, you know, like for like. Hey Dilshan, we are back in Photoshop today. Ah, this bloomin' apple. Hang on, let me get Snaky Boy up. Snaky Boy, where are you? I've lost him. Where's my snake? There you are. Right. Yeah, I'm struggling to get an apple at the right angle. Let's just drop the best one we got in. Let's see. Oh, one of these might be okay. Okay. Yeah, maybe this one or something like that. If I can't get it totally under, I probably want to pick my second best one. Let's download that as it is. It's pretty low res. But we'll see. Where are you, Apple? Yeah, so let's just pop it in first of all. Object selection tool is really useful actually. Sometimes select subject works fine, but actually the object selection tool does sometimes outperform that just straight up select subject. All right, let's see if we can pop this in there. Right, we'll do this nice and quick. I do want to grab the high res version. We'll select Snaky Boy. Let's get all the boring bit done. Positioning everything. Boring but necessary. I want to get onto the good stuff. I'm sure you do as well. Okay, is this going to work? Might work. And then you could have him resting on there. What do you think? You think this could work? I think this has got some legs to it. Not the snake, and that wasn't a pun, but I think the apple's going to need a better stalk. And some sort of background would be nice. So we are going to throw a third image in the mix. Hey, Savage. Could try another fruit. I know, but I just the biblical, you know, the snake and the apple. There is something about that. I think I can make it work with this apple. I think I can make the angle work. It's alright. Because in theory, I guess the angle could be the apple could be a different angle, I suppose, you know, because he could have just been grabbing it a different way. Has it got a stalk? I think it has. Good leaf here. Might have to grab that. And then a background. So we got the snake, we got the apple. Where is this though? Where is this happening? What's the climate? Snow, desert, jungle. This is manageable, you reckon? Okay. Yeah. Prompt, a close-up view of an underside. Oh, let me check. I love that, Elaine. You're straight on it. Just signed up. Let's see what we get. Hey, Simon. I am very well. How are you? A garden. Okay, yeah, no, that would make sense if we're going to go the biblical route. Snow is unique. Jungle cliche. I think, to be honest, with this design, it would be quite out of focus anyway. Part of the snake is out of focus in the foreground here. If it wasn't, I'd blur it anyway, but it is. So I think the background is largely going to be out of focus. I'm thinking a lot about the color as well. Could be, you know, it could be a cave. We could do a cave. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, let's type a garden. Beautiful natural garden. Like nature garden. What are you working on? Oh, we are doing some Photoshop today, boy. Yeah, a lot of this will be out of focus, so it's going to be largely about the colours. Have I got my apple yet? There we go. Yeah. The texture on there is a little bit rough, but I think some of that's going to be covered by the snake. So we might actually get away with it. It does look like it's got two necks, Raquel. It's a special type of snake. We're just going to pretend that the snake's body goes around here and then the tail comes up there. I mean, I could even... Oh, okay. We can fix this. We can fix this. I didn't want to spend ages working on this. Finding images. I could spend ages generating images. I mean, we wouldn't get anything done, but we might be able to fix the snake's tail. Right, what are we doing, Dan? We're gonna copy, paste. No. We're going to cut. Okay, now okay, there we go. Right, now I need to get rid of this if Photoshop's going to do that. So I've basically copied this part of the tail. I'm going to try and use generative fill to remove it, and then I'm going to turn my version back on, and I'm going to pinch the end. Sorry, I keep looking over there, the camera's there. I'm going to try and pinch the end together and then use generative fill again to create a small tail. Right, so that hasn't worked, has it? It's just generated me a new tail. That's no good. Okay, that's fine. We have a plain background, so we can actually hopefully do this with a solid color, because I'm actually going to be cutting the snake out anyway. So let's just do this now. This will look a lot better, apart from the fact we don't have to justify our double-ended snake with two necks. This will look really, really cool if it turns out how I think it will in my head. Right, so that's fine. New tail, come back. Right, so now we're going to go tail. I'm going to convert this to a smart object because I'm about to do some smart filtering things, and I don't want those effects to be permanent. So, what's best here, Dan? We'll try Puppet Warp first. We've got a few options. So I'm going to pin this in place here. Do not want this to move, but I want this bit to move. Okay. No, okay, we'll leave it there. That's fine to start with. Then we'll try. Actually, can I warp? No. So we've got to rasterize that. I'm going to smart object it again, and I'm going to warp it. And we're going to try and see if we can squish this down. We're going to have to do a little bit of stitching back together here. This is fun though. I like doing this. It's fun to have suggestions as well. Keeps you on your toes. Right. There we go, not too bad. Now I wonder if I can use generative fill to generate me a nice little end piece there. That would be amazing. Yeah. Generative fill. Generative fill lets you select an area and you can type a prompt. You can fill it with a specific thing. Not a bad start. Perfect. There we go. Brilliant. Nice. Right, let's save before Photoshop crashes. Ah, snake apple. It's gone pretty well. I'm gonna just refine it a tiny bit. I feel like I was saying something and I totally just distracted myself. Yeah, there we go. A little bit more pointy, which is actually better now because it looks a lot more protective. It's almost like a tentacle or a hand, if snakes had hands, which they don't. Kind of protecting the apple. That's cool. So now what we can do is, I'm going to keep a copy of this, a backup for when I inevitably bugger this whole thing up. But I'm going to treat this as my almost new stock image. I just got to do one more thing. This is a technique that I don't know if this is the official name, but if not, I've named it generative stitch. Now I could go through and I could retouch this, but generative fill will do a faster and easier job of doing all the boring stuff, so I could just get to the meat and the potatoes of this project. And it's stitched it there pretty nicely, matched the lighting as well. I'm going to do something like that. Actually, let's go around there as well. What's the website you were using for the elements? It's called Visual Electric. It's not free. You can you get a few credits, but it's not a lot. You'll burn through them in like seconds. And there are limits on credits, but I personally haven't generated enough to use them all. I quite like that one. That's good enough, I think. That bit looks a bit weird. And I still need a background as well. It might do, yeah. It depends how I position it all. That's better. Yeah, the apple might cover it up, which would be a darn shame. Something does look a bit weird there with the perspective. But that might just be me. Yes, so if you don't enter a prompt with generative fill, it will use AI to either determine to remove the thing from the... that's better. Remove the thing you're trying to select. Or if you're doing it over an area like this where it can't determine a specific thing to remove, it kind of goes, oh, I guess you're trying to blend these together better. So... oh, I think that's okay. That's all right. Oh, it's too small. It's fine. Right. Let's not spend too long on this. Okay. So there's my stock image. I'm going to keep noticing things now. New backup. We're going to flatten all of this into a single layer. Snake. I am going to rather dangerously liquefy this. I gotta. It's a curve, all right. You know what I'm like with curves. They gotta be good. They gotta be right. So we've got to have a bit of a flow there. So I'm just gonna push that back in so the curve flows a bit smoother. I could try and. Liquefy is very good if you do want to sculpt things. You can use warp, but liquefy, as you can see, can give some pretty decent results as well. Can also go very wrong. So I could, yeah, maybe this will address what you said, Dilshan. We sculpt that, push it in from the right, a bit smaller. What do you reckon? Bit better? Hey, Rianne! How is it going? Oh my goodness. Cats have got the zoomies. Oh, what? Oh, you should get some credits. That's annoying. I just joined now. Can you explain what you're creating, boss? We are going to do a snake and an apple. I'm going to leave it chunkier because I think I've screwed up the curve there. I like that the original's a bit more, so we'll keep that. Right, here's our new refined snake graphic. Now I need the proper apple, which is somewhere on my desktop, which is literally my desktop looks like a bomb's gone off. It's horrific. It's so bad. Okay, right, high res apple. There you are. Right, apple. Oh, right, let's get this done because I want to get to the good stuff. Okie dokie. Right, apple and snake. Okay. First of all, we need to select our snake. Let's see if we can get a decent selection. Pretty good. I'll take that. Bit down there as well. Yeah, that's looking good. So we'll mask the apple. Obviously that's wrong. We'll invert it. And then unlink the mask, quite important. We don't want the mask to move, and we're going to resize our apple now. Then I'll bring it inside in a minute. In fact, what I could do is I could shift click the mask to hide it, just to get this in the right place. So I want it kind of rubbing right up against the snake's body, so he's fully and completely captured the apple. This is my apple. You will not take it. Shift click the mask to bring it back. Now I've got to bring some of this back. So I'm not going to use a soft brush because, as you can see, you get like a feathered edge. It looks fake and weird. Again, don't use 100% because you'll get a really hard edge which will look fake and weird. Drop it down to 70-80% and you'll get a little bit of blur, a bit of softness to the edge, which will look much more realistic. So there we go, brushy brushy, brushy brush. Alright, let's use a larger brush for these bits. And you can see this is quite important, doing all of this work and the setup before we haven't even got to anything remotely skilled or cool or like the actual meat and potatoes of what we're doing here. We're literally just getting the thing looking right. Okay, so the apple is going to sort of rest around here on his body. Nice. Right, lighting direction. Where's the snake's lighting coming from? Both sides, it looks like. We've got lighting there, so I'm gonna have to sort that out. What do we think? Snake guarding apple? Mask the top of the apple away because that looks a bit weird, just poking out of his head. Hi Dan, I'm from Bangladesh. As a graphic designer, I follow you. Excellent, Abu from Bangladesh. Your cat thinks that snake is a cucumber. What? Now he looks like a tiny snake on top of someone else. Right. Chunky one flows better. Okay. Oh yeah, I probably should mention that I have a Photoshop course actually. Probably should just throw that in there. Actually, I've got a few courses. So if you are enjoying this or you can tolerate the sound of my voice and you want to learn Photoshop or Illustrator, look no further. I will teach you here. I've got some new courses coming out as well in March and April that is going to teach everything I know about Photoshop and Illustrator, or the best of what I can teach, I should say. Maybe inside a cave, the snake could be guarding the apple in his lair. Cave lair. Oh, nice. Very good, Racco. The sound your pen tablet makes when you're painting scratches an itch in my brain. Really? In a good way. Hang on. That sound. I've got Linkin Park playing. I can't hear anything. Inside an old scary cave. Gothic church theme. Dansky, please shout out my agency name. Follow graphic workers page. No. Alright. Okay, that's not really working. Let's get to work with the apple and the snake, though. I'm just going to throw in a grey background. That's the sound of the cats running around. I've got no idea what Poppy's fed them today. Oh yeah, we need to cut the snake out, don't we? Alright, how's that? Not too bad. I'd rather over select the snake and then I can go in and fine tune this. And we're just masking this nice and quick. We could spend a bit more time getting rid of this kind of halo, this fringing around the edge that you get, but that's an easy fix. A lot of times when I'm doing this, I'll still at this stage be like, is this idea good? Is this actually going to work? I think with this one, I think it will, but sometimes I'm just not sure, so I don't want to commit a huge amount of time to masking something that's going to look rubbish. I wonder about the stalk. What do I do with the stalk? Have it coming out of his head? Or like a horn? A horn as the stalk and a horn for the snake? Aww. The background is under an apple tree. Oh, that would make sense. Okay. Alright, let's do low angle shot looking up at an old apple tree. Yeah, that would be cool actually. That would frame the whole thing quite nicely if I get the angle right. Let's see what it generates. Ooh. Maybe. Ha! This could work actually. If I it's going to be out of focus anyway. Let's just throw a quick blur on it. Yeah, you like that, Daniela? Could work, right? Ooh, look at some of these. That one's dark and moody. This one, I like this one. Let's drop that one in. I wonder if I could make it symmetrical. What do you think to the symmetry of that? I love my symmetry. You see the apple, the snake, the tree. Something about that? Hey Reese, how you doing, man? Ooh, that's a difficult one. I gotta pay attention to the lighting as well, because if the lighting's coming from the sides, we don't want to pick this one because it's got the light behind. So we've got to try and pick something consistent. Maybe that first one actually. We'll give it one more go. I promise we are getting to the good stuff in a minute. The fun bit, the hard bit. Or the bit that's hard at first, but once you know how, it gets a heck of a lot easier. That's a nice one. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe. If we unlink the mask, we should be able to wobble the apple. Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's a good point, actually. We can kind of make it follow the contour of the snake's body a bit as well. Yeah, that looks alright. You've got some good options. Yeah, this has worked out quite well. I do like this one though. It's dark, it's moody, it's got flat kind of lighting in the background. So I think that's pretty good. I mean, this is going to be probably out of focus to the most extent, but with the lower dark snake body at the very bottom, look good overlapping the bottom of the apple. Oh, what you mean if I were to move the apple down? So the apple kind of goes behind it? Is that what you meant? Yeah, that's... Or duplicate. Is this what you meant? Yeah. Hey Gaurav. Sorry, just me today. Poppy's at work. Apple resting. Oh, maybe actually. Or even lift the skin up. Oh, I see what you mean. Ooh, okay, that makes things interesting. Okay. So smart object that, we'll duplicate, make a selection. So yeah. Okay, so if I'm going to do that, I'm going to need to separate the blurred part of the snake and the rest of the body. Which is fine. This is fine. Oh, I should really pen tool this. It's pretty sloppy, this selection. But it's fine. It'll be blurred, so might get away with it. So then I've got that bit. I'll call it tail foreground. Now I can resize this and I can move it up. So yeah, we could do something like that. We got apple. And then tail can go on top. Got my image, just download the background. I know it takes a little while to get the right images and to set up the scene, but composing everything is probably one of the most important steps. Just to get everything looking decent. Oh, I've got some little green apples in there as well. But this is my red apple and you will not take it. Yeah, I know what you mean. What do you think to that then? I think I might just make the apple a tiny bit bigger. So he's pushed up against the side of the snake's body. I want it to look proper tight and coiled. Like this snake ain't letting go of his apple. Right, we'll just brush this very quickly. Oh, lazy masking, Dan, lazy masking. The snake must have his 5 a day. Yeah, there's a lot of vitamin C for a snake, isn't it? This will probably last him a month. Pen tool for selections in Photoshop. Yeah, very useful for some instances. Products, 100%. All the time, no, because you just become inefficient. As you can see here, I've not used the pen tool once. And I probably wouldn't need to, because I would go and refine this with other techniques, masking. If I had a product, I mean, to be fair, I could have used it for the apple, but you know, it'll take me unnecessary time on a stream, and I don't really need to anyway. Like all this rough around the edgesness, that's terrible English, but I'm gonna fix all that after anyway. Oops, it's on the wrong layer. There we go. Apple, back you come. Right, let's actually get doing some retouching, the fun bit. Okay, first of all, we need to balance the exposure. So what we're going to do is add a hue saturation adjustment layer, get rid of all the color, and we're going to balance this. So at the moment you can see we've got areas that are black, we've got areas that are grey, and areas that are light. Now the tree image and the snake in the foreground, they are kind of balanced, but the apple and the snake itself look a lot lighter. So for the snake layer, I'm going to do it with exposure. Curves or exposure are my go-to. We'll clip that, and what I want to do now is try and match this to the other parts of the image. So the darkest parts of the snake match the darkest parts of the tree, and the highlights. So perhaps just, there we go, something like that. So if I turn it off and on, you can see a lot lighter, a lot more kind of washed out. There, a lot more contrast that blends with the other stuff in the image. So this is the first step. Even though, you know, this isn't going to make everything look perfect, we want to at least balance the images we've got so they start on a level playing field. If we then go and add shadows and other things later on, that's fine, but we've got to balance them first so they're all kind of consistent. So I'll go with the apple here. Turn this off, and there we go. So if I turn these adjustment layers off, that's where we were, that's where we've now got to. So I think the next thing is going to be the color, and this is going to be tricky because we've got a few different images. So I've got to figure out what kind of colors I want to match to. Do I want to match the snake and the apple to the background, or the background to the snake and the apple? Probably the snake to the background. Okay, let's try something. There's a few different ways to do this. My favourite technique, that sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, is with curves. We'll clip it, we'll select the layer itself, hold Alt or Option and select Auto. Now what I'm going to do with this window here, find light and dark, and then I'm going to mark the shadows of the image I'm matching to. So I've got this for the snake, so I've got to pick the shadows and the highlights in the tree image. So rather than squint at the screen, I should probably zoom in and find the darkest parts of the image. So I'm going to go here. That looks pretty dark. And then I'm going to do the same for the highlights. Well, the lightest part of the image is quite clearly the sky. So we'll choose that. Click OK. No. and then it's kind of done some color adjustments automatically. Yeah, I think the sky, the color in the sky might have thrown it off then. Let's try that again. Find light and dark, shadows, select you, highlights. Okay, let's pick the brightest part that isn't the sky. So we'll go with probably some of the green, the environment that is actually around the snake. And you can see how this does change things in real time as well. So I could click through this. It's a bit too green. And we can manually just use the color picker, so you can kind of play around with this and make it more green. Yeah, that might work. Let's try that. Turn it off and back on. So it just introduces a little bit more green into the design. With the apple, I'm just going to do color balance. So this is the other technique that I like to use. And again, we're balancing shadows, midtones, and highlights. Yeah, the live recordings will be up on the channel. Why is the head and tail disconnected from the rest of the snake? It's not. It's all connected. We just can't see it. Okay, so I'm just going to add a bit more cyan and a bit more green. Shadows. Well, the shadows in the environment are a bit more green and yellow as well. Highlights. So using this technique, you are eyeballing it a little bit more. Oh, it's not too bad. We've got like the green down the side there. And the great thing about adjustment layers is you can just select one if you're not happy with it. I wonder if I can copy this one actually, the curves. Nah, it makes it look a bit washed out. Let's go color balance again. I think maybe we'll just maybe really subtle. Yeah, and the midtones and the shadows, that's good. Right, I'm going to hide the background now because that will get distracting. Right, now we need to make this look less flat. This is where it gets tricky and fun. So for the apple, I'm going to start adding a curves adjustment layer. Clip it, we're going to bring this down. Bit of a bend for contrast. And I'm going to switch to a soft brush now. We want all the hardness at 0%. Hey Scott. Green apples on the tree yet red apples. Yeah, this is the magic red apple, the holy red apple that fell or something. Right, we're going to brush in some shadows around the sides to kind of give it a bit more three-dimensionalness. There we go. We can actually brush in, while we're here, we'll brush in some there being cast. And I think actually we could probably add some more here being cast by the body of the snake. Oh, that apple's not really... I think because it's an AI generated apple, the colour on it isn't particularly great. So you can see we're getting a lot of weird artifacts and smudging there, but we'll see how we go. It's all a bit dark, so we can just brighten that up a little bit. Snaky boy, right. Let's do curves on him. Bring it down. Yeah, I'm gonna have to redo those curves, I think. It's lost some contrast. Ooh, that contrast looks horrible. Let's try exposure instead. Oh yeah, that's a bit better. Right, let's drop the flow nice and low. I'm going to just brush around the edge. Yeah, there we go. Oops, missing a bit of tail there. And just by adding some shadows around the edge, we can kind of just give the whole thing a bit more curvature and contouring. So if I do before and after, we're just adding a bit more depth. Right, I need to get rid of this weird fringing now. So with the snake, how am I going to do this? Let's select this, modify, expand it by 1 pixel, and then recreate that mask. That might do it. Hey, look at that, there we go. Boom. So we just took that selection, expanded it by a pixel, which pushed it out, and then deleted the mask and remade the mask. Hey, Paul. The tail should curl under the head. Oh yeah, there's loads we could have done with that. We did cut the tail out and have it separate, and normally I would spend a lot longer composing everything, but I want to try and get everything done on stream. But if you do want to have a go at this, I'll send you the images in the Discord after. Yeah, that apple's making it a bit tricky, but it's fine. Right, curves. We're doing curves again. Sorry, colour balance. Right, snaky boy. A bit of green, a bit of cyan. Yeah, it doesn't need a lot. Okay, now we've got some more shadows we need to add on the apple's surface. For where the tail is. Ooh, yeah, it's making the colours look horrible. This must be because it's an AI generated image like this. I think it doesn't have like the same colour data of a photograph necessarily. So it's going a bit weird. Huh. Yeah, so brush it in and then just refine it once you've got it. Right, background. Yeah, let's not go too unrealistic. We'll go for 15 there. Snake's body, where tail foreground, he's going to need the same color balance. So we'll duplicate that there. And exposure actually as well. Oof, yeah, it does go a bit murky with the AI images. Not ideal. Might darken that even more actually. Maybe darken it just because it's not looking great. I might be able to kind of, yeah, cheat it a little bit. Because it doesn't seem to be rendering particularly well. Yeah, it looks pretty awful. Although, actually, it's going to be out of focus anyway. So, probably not going to be too much of a problem if I go and blur this now. Oh no, I think the blur makes it worse. Ah, no. Oh man, those colours are disgusting. That's a real shame, that is. I think adding the artificial blur made it worse. Okay, in that instance, what I'd probably do, I think because it's already out of focus and blurred and it's AI generated, it just doesn't have enough colour data. So when I start changing things, it just can't handle it. We could add another apple, yeah. I think we'll get one apple first. Well, there's a few red ones back there. Yeah, hiding. Yeah, right, Snake, you need more work on the lighting. Oh man. Oh no, it's these AI images. Look at that. It's like brushing in terribly. Oh, that's frustrating. Yeah, like trying to brush in softly and it's... Yeah, that's fine. There's some adjustment layer causing a problem. Ah, maybe it's that one. Okay, I think the problem is where I'm layering up multiple exposure adjustment layers. It's like, nah, we're not doing that. Okay, the gamma. Yeah, maybe it's the gamma. If I push the gamma too hard, don't like it. All the exposure. Oh, that's annoying. But we will forge on regardless. Okay. Well, we figured out where we can push it to. Let's just try and brush in some shadows now. And I'm doing this very quickly, but please do spend longer on this. Okay, right, I'm limited to one exposure adjustment layer. And that second one there, I think. Okay, well, no, I can use two, but I've just got to be careful I don't push the gamma too hard. Alright, let's refine this a little bit. A golden apple, my goodness. I mean, we might get a better texture. Let's try it. Create more work for myself, but we'll try it regardless. I think the background as well, I might tweak the colours for that. Yeah, that blends it a bit together a bit more synergy there. I mean, maybe we could try a golden apple. Yeah, let's try it. Let's try it. Ooh, this one. Maybe this one. This one's got flatter lighting, which I like. Yeah, we'll try this. See what happens. Yeah, this AI apple's rendered awfully. I mean, it wasn't the best generation to start with, if I'm being honest, but it's definitely got worse. Oh, I know. I prefer side on, Phil. Yeah, we did try to find a slightly differently angled apple, but I think there's a lot of it we can correct with adding the shadows in the right place. Because in theory, if the snake is holding the apple, he could be holding it at any angle. But because the shadows haven't really come together yet. Come on, where's me golden apple? Right. Let's give you a go. Water droplet covered apple. This is exactly why we don't spend too long pen tooling everything, because we're changing the damn apple. Right, I do want that part as well. Okay. Gold apple. Right, convert to smart object. Dump it in the main document. Right, where's my main apple layer? Pop it in the same position. Grab that layer mask. We'll see if we can do a like for like swap. Okay, it's not quite it's not quite gone according to plan. Let's get the sides in the right place first. There we go. 1, 2. Right, snaky boy. Okay, here we go again. Let's quickly mask this apple out. Now this bit's good because we've got the tail on its own layer, so we can just brush all the way down here. I'm going to widen it. I'm going to distort the apple and chunk it up. I'm going to be naughty. There we go. Bit more plump. Like me. Okay. Right, apple round 2. I wonder if... Ah, no, the angle does look weird there. Yeah. Yeah, I think this handles the gamma a little bit better. Whoops. Soft brush, don't forget to switch back to that. Oh, that gold leaf's a bit annoying. It's like it's coming out of the snake's head. Whoa. Hey, Hutton. Yeah, you can see the difference that adding some shadows makes. A little bit of green for our apple, so it fits with our scene. Not too much though. Yeah, and doing something like this, I would probably consider this like the start now. So this would be like I feel like I think because now it's gold, it doesn't look like an apple, and so because it doesn't look like an apple, if I took the stalk and the leaf away, you wouldn't know what on earth it was. It would just look like a ball of something. Whereas I feel like the apple had a slightly more recognizable quality to it. So I'm a little bit stuck as to which way to go with it. And I'm trying to work around all these. Yeah, oh, look at the colour. The way it's handling colour is horrific. Yeah, oh, yuck. I wonder if I change it to 16 bits a channel. I don't think that's going to do anything, but basically you could change it from 8 to 16 and it can include more color data. But I don't think that's going to help here. Oh, properties. I've docked it here. Yeah, no, I hate having it in the layers kind of panel on the right, just because I've got I always have loads of layers, so I've got to have my layers panel full height. Yeah. Oh man, that apple. Oh, it's just can't handle the colours. Right. Snaky boy. I think he's missing a bit of his tail there. Yeah. Huh. That's why it's good to keep everything on a mask, because then you can always go back in. If you've aggressively cut something out, you can just go back in, add it in, save and close, and you're good. Yeah, Daniela, that's probably what I would do, is start with a new apple. I'd probably go with a non-AI apple. I'm just looking at apples. Oh, well, there's a passion fruit at the exact angle I need, but it's not really very helpful. Come on, there's got to be more apples than this. Oh my god, there's not like exactly a great apple selection. I'm just literally scrolling through photos of apples. Right, I'm gonna find one. It needs to be high res as well because the apple's such a big part of the scene. A caramel apple. I don't know if it's going to have quite the same effect, Moosh. Ah, yes. The biblical forbidden fruit. The caramel apple, of course. How could I forget? Well, I'll say one thing. Unsplash, you need more apples on your website. Right, I'm going to try Vato Elements, seeing as I have a subscription. Apple. Oh, look at that. Vato Elements. Huh. Oh, straight away. Boom. Just like that. Right, where have you gone? There you are. Nice big high-res apple. Look at it. I was just scrolling Unsplash endlessly, looking for flipping apples. Yeah, this is okay. This is a good one. Right, hopefully you'll see what I mean when I try and do the color adjustments. You'll see them. Hopefully they shouldn't look horrible. If they do still go horrible and they turn out exactly the same, then I'm full of shit. But they shouldn't do. Okay, we don't need to worry about the bottom because that is going to be hidden. So we've got a pretty decent selection there. Okay, we're going to call this New Apple. No, we're going to call it Caramel Apple because it's so special. There's probably caramel on the inside. We just can't see it. So, right. Okay, right. Let's just get rid of all this. This apple stuff's giving me a headache. Just get rid of all the apples. This is the new apple. Oh, look at that resolution. Okay, it's going to work now. All right. Oops. Which way do I want it? Do we angle it? Yeah, we're going to angle it again, like Rianne suggested. Let's get it bulging up against the side of the snake. He has got this angle, apple in his grasp tight. Oh my god. Okay, right. Apple round 3. Let's go. Yeah, step aside, AI Apple. You had your chance and you let us down. God. Ooh, yeah, let's mask it a bit imperfectly, make it a bit lumpy bumpy. There we go. Having a slightly unsteady hand could work to our advantage. There we go. It's got a little snail antenna. Right. Okay. Oh, actually no. Let me get the apple coming down a bit more vertical. There we go. Okay. Yeah, maybe I got a bit carried away with the lumpy bumpiness, but okay, nice. Right, let's try it again. So, black and white. First of all, I'm going to balance the exposure. Curves. Bring it down. Actually, let's use exposure. I think I know why I can't push the gamma too hard. I'm wondering if it's because the whole thing is just red and different shades of red, and if I push it too far it can't reproduce those colors. Yeah, like this area, it's got like a dark spot. It's definitely not as bad though. Yeah, like I can work with that. Right, soft brush. Let's bring the flow down. It's always good to bring the flow down nice and low for this sort of stuff. Right, okay. Shadows. Yeah, look, they look a bit murky. I'm going to try something that I did the other day that worked quite well. So we'll darken it with curves instead. And I think if I go to red, I might be able to introduce more red. So yeah, with the exposure adjustment layer, it's really, really good, but you can't play around with color. You get your gamma, your offset, and your exposure. Whereas with this one, if I start brushing into this here, and I don't like the color, I think I've already changed it there. You can, if you end up with your color that looks a bit like murky or whatever, I can introduce a bit more red into the color. Sorry, into the shadows. So those darker areas. Right, let's just bring the whole thing down. Well, I think it's looking a bit better. Still got a halo around the edge, so we need to fix that. I got that horrible, weird thing. A few different ways. Oh, let's try minimum. This can work quite well. or is it maximum? I've used the wrong one. Oh, I'm selecting the wrong thing. Sorry. There we go. Got to select the apple. Okay, I'm going to try something else. I'm going to contract this by 5 pixels. Bit much. Let's go back. We'll do 3. There we go. Now I can invert that selection, and I should be able to mask away. Yeah, there we go. Same over here. Let's just get rid. May as well do it down here as well. You can't really see it there because it's quite dark, but yeah, that definitely makes things look a bit better on the edge. What does it mean balancing the exposure? So when you've got different photos, they're all been shot under different lighting conditions. So one might have lots of light on it and be well lit, one might be quite dark, and you want to kind of balance them together so they look like they sit in the scene together, and then you can start adding the shadows in the lighting. So balancing exposure and balancing colours. So you might have one image that's warmer, one that's a bit cooler, more blues, and then balancing colour and exposure essentially makes the images feel like they sit in the same scene. This one has been quite tricky actually, but I think this has got potential. But with this kind of stuff, time is 100% the secret ingredient. So like I think this, I look at this now and I go, yeah, I could make this work. By God, I've got no idea how much time I would need to spend. Yeah, it just doesn't like me pushing that exposure too hard. Because what you could do is you could have the light coming from the top, so the whole of the snake is much more in shadow. Something like this. Obviously I'm doing this very quickly. Yeah, then you've got that highlight along the top. I might keep that actually. And a bit lighter up here. Yeah, and it's just a case of turning layers off and back on. Like I'm thinking, oh, okay, I shouldn't put shadows there because it's kind of on the top. The light's coming from up here, so the shadow should be more localized to the underside. When you turn them off and back on, you could really see how far you've come. So that's before, and that's the after. Yeah, same with the apple. We've only got a couple on this one, but you can see it's a massive difference of blending the two together. Yeah, we did try to find an apple that was shot from the underside. We used AI, we used multiple things. It didn't work out. But yeah, matching stuff up would be ideal. I think the background as well, I'm going to darken that. Yeah, there's definitely something about the angle that's not matching up. I mean, I guess another idea is I could get... Oh god, I can't do another apple. Please, no more. Oh. Oh no, there's a 3D apple. I should have used that to start with. Oh no. No. No more apples. Why didn't I think of that? Jan, come on. You could have saved yourself so much frustration. Oh, I'm looking at apples. Yeah. Oh, look, I could have... Oh, for God's sake. It was right there. It was right there the whole time. Yeah, I think that's probably a better angle, isn't it? Goodness sake. Okay, I'm going to go for that because it's kind of colours balanced. Okay, I'm going to download it. I think they're 2000 pixels squared. I think. And if the resolution isn't enough, what I could do is try and sharpen it, or I was going to say add other apple textures to it, but okay, right, we'll call this this is Moosh's caramel apple. I guess someone's dreaming about apples tonight. Let's get it in and we'll see if the angle looks noticeably better. Right, apple number 4. Okay, here we go. We don't want the soft brush. 80%. Flow at 100% would help. Let's bring you in. Well, I think that definitely fits a bit more. Right. Okay. Again. Exposure. Let's bring you down a wee bit. And then we're going to do curves. You can use curves or exposure. I flip-flop a little bit. Yeah. Right, nice soft brush. Drop the flow. Yeah, the shadows of this are quite tricky. There's a lot of shadows we need to add because the snake is kind of covering it from everything. And then we've got the colour we've got to balance as well. A bit of green. Teeny bit of cyan. There we go. Okay, so I think it's fair to say that the angle matches. You like that, Jimmy? Okay. Good. Took us 3 goes originally, but we got there. With apple number 4. Oh, goodness me. What I'm going to do with the apple is I'm going to modify and contract it by 2 pixels again. I do something I didn't do a minute ago that I should have done, was feathered it. So this just means that the edge isn't going to be really sharp, because you don't want it perfectly sharp because it will look fake otherwise. So if I'll show you in a minute. I always like to just add either 0.3 to absolute maximum of 1 pixel of feathering. So when you mask out, stuff just doesn't look perfectly crisp. Although the amount of blur will depend on the size of your image as well. So if it's bigger, you'll probably add more blur. You see there, it's quite soft along the edge. It's very subtle. But it just, if you have like these really hard edges, it will look fake. Oh, this looks crap here. This looks rubbish. How am I going to fix that? Because I can't blur it because the blur is just awful. Okay. Well, it doesn't look as bad as I remember, actually. No, that doesn't look as bad. It's quite handy because it hides a lot of the stuff. Right, I need some more shadows around the edge here. You see these? It doesn't make sense for the snake's body to be so dark and the apple to be so bright. So I've got to add more shadows. So we'll set the darkest point there. Go darker than you need with exposure. And then we can just go around the edge and just brush them in. You see how that just makes everything feel like a bit more round, like we're sort of working on the contours. This is pretty subtle. And then what I would do is make it a bit bigger and do like a softer pass. So you'll be careful. Let's go a bit too aggressive with it. Oh, that bit down there still looks a bit... Yeah, you can see here like the shadow of the snake bit there is really dark and this bit just isn't even close. Yeah, bringing the opacity down a little bit, that definitely helps alleviate those sort of spots. You think? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're probably right, because we've got that highlight on his head. Kind of came with the image, really. Where was it? Yeah, this is the part that just takes so long refining. And if you step away from it, you'll come back and look at it and you'll see things that you didn't even see before. Add a few highlights in now. I've had enough of shadows. Yeah, probably needs a bit more red. I think actually probably more contrast as well. The texture on it isn't very high contrast anyway. So let's try that. And oops, did I choose color balance? That's cool. Ooh. Dark, no, multiply looks quite cool. Let's just get that in there, and then there is my snake. Now I've got that mask, I can actually do quite a lot with that. We could change the color, the blending mode, go for a blue apple if we wanted. What is that bit there? Is that a snake? Okay, that's part of the snake. Oh, I think the snake needs blurring. Contract 2 pixels. Feather 0.3. Actually, I'm gonna contract that even more, and I'm gonna feather it by 0.5 so it softens the edges. Oh, that's annoying. Snake. Right, let's start grouping stuff together now. looks like a peach. I know it is. It is very peach-like. I probably haven't helped things with the colour there, but this is a bit of the. This is like part of the process. You know, you will go through and tweak things, add things, remove things. So I probably would. Yeah, I think I might take the red off there. You'll go back and turn off adjustment layers and be like, oh, by turning that off, it actually makes it better. Yeah, like that one's probably a little bit too strong. Ooh. That kind of, I like that. Oh, it doesn't look too bad. It's not too bad at all, actually. It's apple day. Wish it was caramel. No, you've had your caramel apple mousse. Much nicer apple, Dan lad. Maybe use blend if to colour only the light green parts. Yeah. Shame it has no tongue. Oh, we could add a tongue. I wonder if Photo Elements has got a snake tongue. I don't know. No. You got snakes. Oh, yeah. This is cool. This is really cool. It definitely needs more work though. It needs more time. For this kind of work, time is definitely the secret ingredient. You can see around here, like these little bits, these edges, getting the blur right, some of these bits, a bit rough. Masking here, quite sloppy. Sorting out the height, yeah, masking there, sloppy as well. But that's all easy to fix, that stuff. It's just time, details, and refining. So there's quite pronounced lights coming from the left and the right. So there's that light source. So I should probably name my adjustment layers. Yeah, so what I could do is I could punch these up a little bit to kind of match what's on the cheeks of the snake. Could do it here as well. Do a nice little streak, little highlight across there. Oops. And that can help as well, just separate the foreground and the main kind of focal point of the image a bit. Oh, the blur looks a bit off on the big tree as well. That's it, yeah, that's going to be a hard one to do. That's going to be really tricky. What I would do with the blur is I would set the tree distance at 15 This might blow my computer up. Yeah, you're 15, you're 15. You're 15, you're 15, 15. That's 15 pixels of blur. 15 on this branch. 15 here, 15 here, 15 all the way up here. The leaves are 15. So I'm thinking like distance from object to camera. But then these leaves are far away. So those leaves have obviously got to be more blurry. So to do this, I've got to label everywhere that is, let's just say 15 distance from the camera. And then I've got to specifically label areas that are going to be, let's just say 30. You see there? So everywhere on the tree is 15 pixels blur, but then the areas that are actually further away in the image are going to be blurred more. Could even do more than that, so it's more pronounced. Oh, yeah, this is going to be an intense blur effect. So, God, am I doing this? It will look a lot better once it's done. The computer might crash. Come on, computer, stay with me. No, I don't think it's going to do it. My computer is screaming at me already. Okay, scratch that. It's tricky because if you've got like a scene that goes off into the distance gradually, you could use a tilt shift or something, but because this has got branches in all directions, some bits would be in focus, some would be out of focus. It's almost a bit of a nightmare. Yeah, good shout, Command S. Okay. That's a really good point. Yeah, we could use AI for the tongue. Oh, that's gonna be a bit weird though, isn't it? Snakes. How are we gonna get the angle? Snake's tongue on plain background. This is going to be odd. Yeah, I can tell you now, like, when I step away from this for a few hours, have some food, come back to it, and I'm not live trying to do it in the moment, I'm sure I'm going to see a bunch of things that are just glaringly obvious that I can't see right now. It's a cool idea though. I'm really glad we did this. It's good as well because it kind of keeps me sharp and on my toes. You know, it's easy for me to pick the images and to just do it, but I think when you guys are picking the images and the ideas, you will inevitably see the real world challenges that people like myself come up against. Background tree, and then how to kind of deal with it, and then how another problem happens, and how you get around that. So I think it's harder for me, but you learn more if you're watching it, I think. Yeah, oh yeah, you know, you're right. We haven't even got to highlights on the Apple yet. Where is Apple V4? Yeah, they're so hard to get right, highlights. Yeah, like, so you see there, like I had to brush in the shadows first and then your highlights after, and you sometimes have the really thin, intense highlights that I'm doing here, and then you might have like a bright spot somewhere else. Obviously not like that, but let's rotate you round. Yeah, and I'm using a pen display, which definitely helps. It's almost like these ones, you want to flicker the wrist. Might take a few goes to get it. Yeah, see, you can see I've overdone it there. The right side's looking good. I've overdone it on the left, and it's basically put me back to where I started. So let's get rid of that. We'll do the left side again. In fact, we'll start with the light ones. Soft, soft, soft. Right, I'm gonna do another one for that left side because I can make it more intense. Usually I like to do as few adjustment layers as possible. Here it's gone a bit insane, but that's just the way it is. Sometimes you get it with a few. Sometimes it's better to have 10 adjustment layers because they're all for different things that you can turn off and back on. Oh yeah, that's a massive improvement. Yeah, nice. Now I just got to find which ones add shadows and things. So you can see it's a good, like I said before, good practice to go through your existing ones. Because I could. Hey boy.
Will you be on for much longer?
I think I've been on a while, haven't I?
Yeah, it's literally, before it was like daytime, now it's literally nighttime.
Just one more apple.
Wait, what?
Don't ask. Just, I don't want to talk about it. Have we got any apples, by the way?
Eli said we had some earlier, and I checked, and they were red peppers. So
he said we've got apples, but they are red peppers.
Yeah, it's like Eli, you are a fool.
Oh my goodness, no! That is me and Mummy failing at parenting.
Yeah.
When the child believes that. I mean, I would have said, "Do you want an apple?" and fed him a pepper. And the parent of the year goes to someone else.
Not you. Goodbye.
Make us feel like the apple is struggling to escape. This bit of highlights is instantly much better. Amazing. Yeah, it's the little details. It's the same with the door one that I showed at the start of the stream. you know, it was like the getting the door and adding the light and retouching the shadows. That one wasn't too tricky actually. That was actually quite straightforward. But then it was staring at it for ages, going, something's missing. And then it wasn't until I added like the water splashes, the fog, the particles, the atmosphere, darkened the background more, blurred it more. It was like, there we go, the little details. So you'll probably find that, I mean, I don't know where this is going to end up. I think I'm going to probably try and add a snake tongue. Whether I draw one maybe, I don't know. You'll probably find that the final version of this, whatever it looks like, will actually look very, very similar. But it will have been all those little details that I've been working on, highlights, shadows, that will make the difference. Oh, hello, cat. I think I might actually keep the finished version from the stream today and then compare it to the very... If I get time to finish it properly and do like an end result one, I think, yeah, you'd be pretty surprised at the difference when you get to that point. Let's try and draw a snake's tongue. Just for fun. First of all, I need a reference image. I think I know what they look like, but snake tongue, just to make sure we get it right. Maybe we could do like a little one. Little tongue means less chance I screw it up. Oh, they are just horrible. Oh, well, I didn't have a desire to be licked by a snake, but now I really definitely do not. But we could make this work. Hello. I'm going to use your tongue as a reference image. My computer's proper struggling now. It's not having it. It's so weird to hear kids speak English. I still look at them sometimes and think, I can't believe you're real. Right, we're going to go with pink tongue. So I would start, oh, this is going to be interesting. So I would start this with like the mid-tone color. So not the highlights, the shadows, the base color. And I'd probably, actually no, I should pencil this really, shouldn't I? Yeah, damn, you probably should. Okay, oh man, hang on, I've got to think now. Angle, so what's the kind of shape, what sort of shape is this going to look like? To be correct, let's come in, out. Why is my paintbrush not working? Oh, there we go. Computer is definitely dying. Oi! Get out of it. This is going to be hard because it's kind of like on the underside coming forward as well. So I've got to try and map in what it's going to look like. Is it going to do that? No. No, you're going to have to wait for your food. I'm drawing a snake's tongue. Maybe that, and then up there. Oh, that'll work. Yeah, that's not too bad. We speak English when we don't want the kids to understand. Avert. Broken and funny English. Okay, right. I'm just gonna thick pink blob this in. There we go. So I've got my solid base color for pink snake tongue. Right, now I'm going to get the eraser tool. I this maybe this one. And where's my reference gone? Yeah, it's really pointy, isn't it? And straight, weirdly straight. Like proper, like that, almost. I've got to do that on an angle. So again, this is like a more flick of the wrist, get the right angle. Oh, that was a good one. Ooh. Oh, look at that. Look at that. He's only gone and done it. There we go. So we're just sculpting with the eraser tool. You could mask it, but I'm feeling cheeky. So there we go. That ain't too bad. What do you reckon? That look alright? Yeah, thanks. Maybe have it kind of actually coming from inside his mouth rather than the bottom of his lip thing. And then we'll move it over there. I might rotate it slightly. Wait a second. Is this snake? Are they nostrils or more eyes? I think it's got 4 eyes. I think it's a snake within a snake. What? We might have to generative fill that before the end. I don't think that's meant to be there. Shh. Does no one say anything? It's not really there. Oh, bloody AI. Snakeception. I know. I was just looking at it like, wait a second. Eyes, and you've got eyes and nose, nostrils, eyes, and there shouldn't be more eyes. Flippin' heck. Remember what I was saying about looking at it later and noticing things? We've just gone like a 2 to 3 hour stream, and I've only just noticed he's got double eyes. I can't unsee that now. That is driving me insane. Yeah, this fella's not got double eyes. Okay. Right. Oh, now I've got to try and shade this. Okie dokie. So we'll go exposure. Make it nice and dark. This is going to be quite tricky because it's on the underside as well. So it's trying to get the lighting right. So I guess a lot of this would actually be quite dark, and then we would brush in the highlights. Yeah, it's still looking too flat. So, I mean, Googly eyes. Could do. Yeah, and there's that middle part as well, isn't there? It's not too bad. I might just cut the length short a tiny bit. Yeah, a little bit of tiny bit of tongue surgery there. I mean, it's not too bad considering, you know, I have never done that before. Yeah, what about bending it a little? Oh, I know, I want to puppet warp it. That's what I want to do. So I want to keep all this the same, but I just want to bend it slightly. Although that does muck up all the highlights. So I'll probably do that in a minute. I could merge that with the adjustment layer and like bend it a little bit. And then we probably should change the color a little bit. So we could hue saturation it. I'll change it to like a greeny yellow tongue to match the environment. And then just bring the opacity down a bit, maybe 30%. Yeah, that's just another way of doing it. So you could change the color to like the yellowy, greeny colors of the rest of the image, and then just drop the opacity from like 100 down to 30. Lots of different ways in Photoshop to do the same thing. Okay, no idea what this adjustment layer was meant to be, but oh, darkening that. Oh, I do kind of. That is kind of cool. I might keep that actually. It puts more focus on the snaky snake. Right. Okay, tongue. Let's group you together. I'm going to make it a bit bigger actually. Big snake tongue. His flipping eyes. I gotta sort that out. It's gonna drive me nuts. My tongue. Yeah, the eyes. Genetically mutant AI snake. Right. Serves me right for using AI, doesn't it? That's what you get, Dan. Okay, let's just go around that anyway. Right. Actually, no, I'm gonna try and do these together because I don't want it to generate two different things. So you've got to be wary using generative fill with multiple selections in different places. Sometimes it doesn't like it, but we'll see. I've just realised I've not even properly mentioned the courses. Did I send the link earlier? I don't know if I did. Anyway, if you want to learn Photoshop or Illustrator, kind of beginner to intermediate stuff with me, I've got courses available for those apps now, Photoshop and Illustrator. And then the masterclass for Photoshop is coming out March 15th. And the masterclass for Illustrator is April 30th. Those are going to teach the best of what I can teach with the software. So if you're enjoying this stream and you want to learn about all this kind of stuff and the little details and adding this here and that there and how to use brushes and just make your work look freaking awesome, that stuff's going to be included in the course. Don't worry, you're not going to have to sit through like a 3-hour lesson to learn all the little bits and bobs that I'm doing. It's going to be recorded and edited in a way where you'll be able to get the secret sauce, if you will, whatever you want to call it, in a short, succinct time, but then see how all of those little steps kind of do make up the end result. What was I doing? I got distracted then. Oh yeah, we're getting rid of these eyes. Okay, that's... No! I don't want more nostrils. That's probably the best version for now. Let's just save that and just get out of here. Yeah, there we go. I could always generate more later on. As long as there's not double eyes going on, then we're good. Okay, right. Anything that's glaringly obvious. Actually, no, there is some things I've noticed. There's one thing on this that would make it look a lot better. Oh, I know this because I think Benny did this once. I have a feeling he used scales for something and he had to go and add highlights to all of the frickin' scales, and I have a feeling that's what I've got to do as well. Oh no. Yeah. Whose idea was it to pick a snake? Was this your idea, Raquel? Okay. Right. Okay. Oh, I mean, this will make it look flippin' awesome, though, to be fair. It's just very, very laborious. Which is another way of saying bloody boring. But it's cool when you kind of turn it off, back on. You'll be able to see the difference. Like across a whole design. Oh, it just makes things so much more dramatic and epic. And then you can even, like some of these highlights, you can kind of bring them in a little bit so they kind of curve and then follow some of the contours. And we'll have to go and refine these, of course, but oh man, maybe with the scales as well. I don't know if I've got it in me to do that. I don't know if I can. Although it's got, I don't know if I even need to be honest. Because the scales have got lots of depth on them already, whereas these ones are a little bit murky, and we could just see how this looks. This could look really cool. Just have it taper off. Oh yeah, you've got to get the little wrist flick right. I'm using a pen display for this, but graphics tablet will do just as good a job. Doing this with a mouse is not fun, in my opinion. And I'm doing these all the same at the minute, but of course as you move through different parts of the snake they would get less pronounced in some places. Yeah, like obviously these ones down here, they wouldn't be that pronounced. I'm doing this very quickly and lazily, but then you could go back over this with a soft brush, and where I've kind of overdone it, just give it a, and you see it darkens it a little bit, and then we'll do one along the bottom there, maybe one at this part. So I've just dropped my flow to 20%, so it's going to do it really subtly. These are the sorts of little details I was talking about. So turn it off and back on, and you might think that's too strong, so then we can just dial back the intensity, but it can just help everything just look a little bit less flat and give it a bit more depth. Imagine that tongue growing and spreading into several branches, transforming into a tree. No. 100% no. Oh, people are asking for the Discord link. Okay. I was going to go, alrighty then. I can find that in my endless list of links. So if you would like to join the Discord and chat with us and share your work, get feedback, and just hang out when we're not streaming, there is the link for that. If you'd like to join my 30 Days of Design Gold email list, you can sign up here as well. Basically, this is one email from me a day, and I've just packed essentially what I've learned in the last 2 decades, the most important stuff, into like 30 emails. So there's some general tips about design, about color, about picking fonts, working with clients, portfolio stuff, tools, software, Photoshop, Illustrator, and it's one email a day, so it's not going to be like too overwhelming. But the feedback's been amazing so far, really amazing. Do you know the best thing that's come out of the that 30 days thing? Because obviously when I'm putting it together, I'm looking at it going, oh, I think these emails are amazing. But until you actually get it out there and people start consuming it, you don't really know. And it's been amazing. But the best thing that's happened is I've had so many people email me these very kind of personal, heartfelt heartfelt emails about what their struggles are, you know, what they're struggling with personally as well as professionally, and it's just been really nice to just actually reply and get to know people a little bit. And sometimes when you talk to a camera all the time, you forget that you're actually, you know, you are speaking to real people sometimes. I know it sounds a bit silly, but when people email you that like, oh my god, these tips about fonts or these tips about colors are really helpful, it's like, good. It's like it's like a nice reminder that, oh yeah, you are doing something good and helping people, even though you talk to a camera pretty much all the time on your own. Yeah, that tongue's not too bad. My computer is, oh no, my computer is just definitely struggling now. Computer's like, I've had enough. There is one last thing I'm going to do. Actually, no, that's not true. There might be a few more things I need to do. Sorry, kids. I gotta add some fog. If my computer's gonna hold out and let me. Right. Where am I gonna do this? Right, I'm gonna try doing it like this. You can just brush this in. This can be quite cool to making the backgrounds of images look very murky. And I could even do it in the foreground as well. Oh no, it doesn't like. But then if you go a bit more turbo in the background, oh no, not 50%. Ooh, that's too much. You could do it in a bit more. We couldn't add the blur in those places, but the areas that are further away, you can add a bit more of that fog into them. And it just adds a bit more atmosphere over the top. See what I mean? You could actually brush in actual fog and clouds if you wanted to as well. I think I've got a cloud brush somewhere. And if it's too intense, all you do is you just dial it down a bit. Drop it to 70%. No, it's not. There's not a fog brush. I'll show you. I'll show you separately. It's such a flippin' amazing trick. I can't remember when or where I learned that from, but it's flippin' awesome. So you can do it with cloud brushes and fog brushes, and if you go to Envato Elements, honestly, can't recommend them enough. They've got loads and loads. That's where pretty much 90% of my brushes are from. But if you wanted like an atmosphere, grab the brush tool, nice soft brush, flow around about 2 to 5%, and you just brush. So I'm just brushing the fog. So if I wanted the fog around the middle part of the image, go here, a little bit at the top, back to the middle, a bit more up here, a bit more on the left maybe. So I'm just going around, maybe a bit down here, some like thin streaks. And I mean, that's just me doing it with a basic default brush, but if you actually start getting fog brushes themselves, this one, where is it? There's one I used the other day. If I can find it, I'll show you. It's awesome. This one. Make sure you crank your flow up again. It's boop. There you go. Fog, like that. Like a mist on a surface. And you could probably see where I've used it here. This is the one I showed earlier in the stream. So effects, they've got their own folder. This is the point I got to, and I was like, here's a quick before and after. Before, after. When I got to this point, I was like, this is cool, but something's missing. And the effects are like the icing on the cake. Same thing as with the snake. You spend ages doing the fundamental bits, but it's the last little details that will sell the finished piece. So like here, for example, if I go through it, it's all around the door. Little light particles. A little bit of fog. You see that right down the bottom there? Just brushed in a few cloud brushes. A bit more fog. Some other particles, different size with a different particle brush. Little splashes where the door is opening in the water, it's creating ripples. And even more splashes. Just doubling up the splash in a few places. Brightness and contrast. So just literally just on the door to make it kind of that light more intense. And then I think there's a color balance on everything just to do something flipping magical. I can't even remember what that does. And then you end up with the before and the after. But yeah, brushes are amazing. Something else that's also amazing is if we copy and paste this, I'm going to call this final. This is like the icing on the cake. Convert to smart object. And go camera raw filter. I wouldn't depend on these too much. You can get into camera raw filter and you can start screwing around with all these things, and you can do that. The problem is if you start mucking around with the color and everything in camera raw, whilst it does look awesome sometimes, if you then go back and try and work on your design more and make changes to color, when you save those changes and update them with your camera raw filter, you've still got those changes that might muck something up. So I would keep as much as you can of your color grading and everything in your main document with all the normal adjustment layers, and kind of save this more for bumping up texture, clarity, adding a little bit of grain, maybe a cheeky vignette. You see what it does there? Especially the texture and clarity. It just brings out some of those details really nicely. All of these ones, you can mess around with these, and I have done in the past, but like I say, I would try and do that in the main document. Yeah, so even just looking at this now, I can see the whole thing's too dark. Shadows. There is another one that's quite handy, color mixer. This is quite cool. Ooh, yeah, so you could kind of give it like a more autumnal vibe if you wanted. But again, I would try and do that in the main document if you can. Detail, you could go bump up the sharpening, which can look quite cool. It can make things like the focal point, like the snake in this example, look just a bit sharper. Sometimes without these, the sharpening and the texture and the clarity, things can look a little bit soft around the edge. But I was going to say fluffy then, but that doesn't make any sense. Just a little bit soft and like, I don't know, like dreamlike. Not in a good way. So if I go do before and after, that's before, then that's after. So it's just, it literally is the icing on the cake that I use that effect for. But then if I want to go and change my design a bit more, I've got to hide this, do my work on the design, blah, 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 and then select all, copy merged, open up the smart object, and then paste in that new version. I normally just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it'll be like a progression. So then once I've got my new one in there, I can just save and close. And this is where you update your final design without any of those smart object filters and bits and bobs. And then when you save this smart object and close it, you can then turn on that layer with the camera raw filter to get your finished design. Hopefully that makes sense, but if it doesn't, just let me know in the community and I'll try and explain it a bit better. Oh, I think I'm definitely going to carry on with this one. I think it's got potential, but I think it's one of those ones that I've just got to stare at it for a long time, or try and find a reference image. I don't know where I'm going to find a reference image of a snake strangling an apple, but maybe I could. Do you know what I probably could do actually? I could probably go and find an apple in the house somewhere and wrap something around it, and then try and use my phone to light it from different sides, or use 2 phones and see where the light falls and try and recreate that. You just had a nap. Nice. No, Gal, I don't use plugins really. The only one I've got, I think, is not Flaming Pear, Flood 2. So in the door one a minute ago I showed you, Flood 2 is an amazing plugin where you can create realistic water reflections. So it will take your design at the top half, flip it upside down and make it realistic in water with a bunch of settings. Yeah, I think you get like is it 14 days? You get like a free trial and then you can buy it. I think it's a buy it outright as well, and it's not that expensive. I've bought it before and I've lost my receipt. So I might have to buy it again, but I don't mind because it is amazing. It's really, really good. I love if you sometimes share with us all the tools you use, especially the paid ones. I feel like there's so many tools and services. It's insane. AI fonts, stock photos, design tools. Yeah, I do. I use a lot of different tools and things, but I think when it comes to the creativity side of it, it's mostly Envato elements for brushes, assets, music, sound effects, stuff that's good for YouTube as well. And Visual Electric, the AI thing that I showed you earlier. There's got to be more than that. I just can't think right now. I've definitely used like a lot more platforms in the past, but then I just had a one-way ticket to Subscription City, and it was like, this is ridiculous. I need to trim this back. And then I just focused on what I was actually using. Rope. Oh, you like the palette? Oh, good, Raquel. That's good. Yeah, I think it's getting there. I think it probably needs something. I feel like there's a lot. The whole scene has a lot of synergy, but I feel like the compositing just needs a bit more work. Moosh, what do you mean rope? I think I might have missed something. What is color noise reduction in Camera Raw? So with noise, sometimes you get noise that has lots of different colors in it. And I think that one specifically will focus on reducing noise that has lots of color. I think I'm right in saying that. So if I just make a black layer, if I go and add noise, for example, normally by default noise is like this, so you have all these millions of colors, like TV static. Oh no, I hear a child. And normally I would check monochromatic, and then that makes it black and white. So the colored noise is if your image that you're using Camera Raw filter has colored noise in it, it will focus on removing that specifically. That's how I interpret it anyway, but it's not something that I would typically do. One other thing we could do, and it's not like I'm trying to hide from my children, like, one thing I could do, because the snake is like poking out towards us, I could try and add like an iris blur. Oh my god, it's trying to add the blur whilst saving the file. How has this not crashed yet? To wrap around the apple. Oh, I mean, Caval, when it comes to price, there's no question. Affinity definitely has Adobe beat on price, just because it's a one-off purchase and you get it across all apps. I think the other side of it is, though, the Adobe is still like the industry standard software. So a lot of companies that you might want to work at use Adobe, and the software is arguably more powerful. There's more features in it as well. I think there's some things in Affinity they do better, but there's some features that aren't in Affinity that I use sometimes. It's a bit of a weird one for me because I teach Adobe software as well. So I'm always gonna prefer it because I live in it all the time because I teach it. I think if I was working for clients on a freelance basis and I wasn't teaching Adobe on YouTube and I was just like a freelance designer, from a business point of view, the Affinity software would be a no-brainer, because it'd be like, why would I pay every month when I can just pay one amount, you know? Oh, my computer hates me right now. My computer hates me. Yeah, so what I was trying to do was I was going to add like a really dramatic iris blur. So Snaky Boy's face is in focus. Snaky Boy. And then everything else is not so much. This isn't really like very realistic, but it does make for a damn good effect. When will the UI be the UI competition? Oh, it's on my to-do list. I haven't forgotten about it. It's definitely on my to-do list. Ooh, that looks kind of cool, having the snake in focus like that. No, we do need to get the next competition going. I think we'll talk about it later in the week. When's the next stream? It's normally on a Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, let's say we'll get the next one going on a Wednesday. I was thinking of doing a UI design competition for like a game. So it's kind of open. It could be like a mobile game. It could be a TV game, a video game, a PC game. So UI design, but rather than it being like a typical website or an app, something game related, because there's quite a lot of variety. It could be like a fun game, a serious game, any kind of game, and I feel like that would be quite creative as well. It's the kind of thing you could do it in Figma, you could do it in Photoshop and get crazy with brushes and different effects. Should be really creative, I think. And if you want to go the extra step and animate it in After Effects or prototype it or whatever, there's like that option as well. Ah, okay. I actually really like that. That dramatic. Put the tongue's going to have to be better if this, and the double eyes need proper fixing forever for good. If we're going to have it out of focus like this, I think the snake being in focus looks really cool, but we've got to make him a bit better. But yeah, pretty happy with that. Oh my goodness, how long have I? Where am I? 7:15. We started at 4. I can't even count. Oh, that's over 3 hours. Wow. Right. Can you show us a few examples of decent UI when you introduce this competition? It's something I'm not super familiar with, but I'd like to try. Oh, okay. Let me see if I've got one now. I've probably... No, I'll tell you what, Moosh. Let me... I did one on YouTube ages ago. Let me try and find it. I partnered with MSI. This is going back a few years now. And it was like a 4-part series. And it was like part 1 was compositing in Photoshop. Part 2 was icons in Illustrator for the UI. Part 3 was... I think I've got it. Part 3 was the game UI design itself. And then part 4 was animating that in Premiere Pro. So... yeah, shall I post these here in the chat or in the community? They're quite old now. They're 4 years old, but the purpose of this was like this sponsored series with MSI was to show the process. So you got the Photoshop compositing, the Illustrator for the icons, XD for the prototyping, and then the the effects being added to that prototype in Premiere that you could also do in After Effects, to be fair. Okay, hang on, I'll make a list. I will make a list of the links. I think I've done another one as well, actually. Hang on. Bear with me a minute. If you just give me a second, I'll get up a bunch of links and I'll label them. Part 1. Here you go, part 2. God, I can't believe, oh my goodness, looking at some of these old videos. The beard. Yeez. Right. Okay, part 1. Oh, you look like a baby, Dan. Part 2. Oh, also something else that I've been trying to get working, and I think I've nearly got it. Is basically I had problems with Blender on my main PC. It's got a really powerful spec and an amazing graphics card, and I just couldn't get Blender to work on it. Some weird thing. And then, what was it I did? I wiped it the other day completely, and I was like, I want to set this up to do some 3D stuff because it's fun. But I wiped the whole computer, reinstalled everything, and it was still being stupid, and Blender was running like an absolute potato, and it was like, this should not be happening with this spec of computer. And then I went on to settings in Windows, and then I think it was like graphics settings, and then I specifically selected Blender as the app and then chose high performance before it was set to auto. So I think it was using like an eco-friendly profile or something for Blender, which, as you can imagine, not a good match. And so I changed that to high performance, and then bang, Blender's running amazing again. So I'm just trying to figure out how to do it with the setup, but I think what I want to do is start streaming some Blender stuff again, because I think that would be really fun, and I love Blender. It's just a ton of fun. So I'll be able to stream Blender from the PC, and it would hopefully be able to handle it. So yeah, it should be pretty cool. Right, I think I've got these links. So this is Photoshop part 1, Illustrator, blah blah blah. What's the next one? Adobe XD. Although, I mean, you could still use that. You could still use that. It's just not being supported much. But I think it's free if you've already got Creative Cloud stuff. So these are the 4 parts. Oh, hang on, I can't paste them all. Right, we'll go 1. Okay, part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. I don't think I can show you. I don't think I can play the audio because I'll get copyright nonsense to my own video. But this was the beginning of the animation. So it was like a Resident Evil inspired game. And this was created in Adobe XD, the whole prototype. And then the smoke effects and everything is Premiere Pro. And there's another one as well. This one I think is even better. This is cool. Yes, okay. Oh, look at him. Look at him. He's a little baby. Yeah, so this is the final end result. So it's just kind of a concept for a fictional video game. All these visual effects came from Envato elements, the music, Envato, the hunter characters themselves, these were Adobe stock images turned into these. And the whole thing was animated in Adobe XD. And then that Adobe XD prototype was recorded and then dropped into Premiere Pro, and then all of these VFX and particles were overlaid over the top. The music's cool as well. The music was really good in this one. And then I actually did a video talking about how I made it. So it's 18 minutes long. Oh, there you go. You can download the project files as well. So assuming that link still works. Yeah, I think that's the XD file. So in this video here, I walk through how I actually made it. And then if you want to actually see the XD file, you can download it. So there's a couple of examples there. I've never worked on like video games before, but I play a lot of them and I like designing UIs and things for them. So, you know, yeah, just go for it, Moosh. It's not like I've got years of experience making video games. I don't. I just play them. Resident Evil many times. Another Danger Fun. Was it that obvious? Was it that obvious? Oh, you're welcome, Moosh. I'll post those links in the community as well. So if anyone's worried about them disappearing, don't worry. I'll put them in the community later on. That's all right. Yeah. All right. We'll talk about that on Wednesday then. The competition. That'll be fun. Right. I need to go and see my children now. Kids, you still alive up there? Oh, yeah. That was a long one, wasn't it? That was a long one. Oh, goodness me. Right. Amazing. Cool. Yes, I will see you probably on Wednesday next, I think. Unless we do an emergency stream tomorrow morning, but I don't know. We'll have to. I think I probably need to go to bed in like 2 hours, so we'll see what state I'm in, but most likely Wednesday. Oh, amazing. Hey, thank you so much, everyone. Oh, if you've just joined or if you've been here forever, 30 days of Design Gold, 1 email a day with actionable tips. Free to sign up, and it's helping a lot of people apparently, so yeah, check it out. Anyway, have a good day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.